Good evening and welcome, friends. This Sunday, 6 p.m. This is exclusive in which we are going to focus on terror, which has reared its head today from Kashmir to Kerala. In Kashmir, an inspector gunned down in the heart of Srinagar, and down south in Kerala, bombing of a religious congregation which has left one dead, many injured. Though, of course, the accused has been arrested. Let's begin with the headlines first.
Preliminary investigation shows it is a IED device and we are examining it.
IED use timer-based device with batteries and wires found. One suspect surrenders in the Kerala blast case. Republic accesses clinchers. CCTV video shows a car leaving convention center just after the blast.
Very sad as a Malayali, as an Indian, to hear about these bomb blasts targeting one community, the Christian community. India should come first, Kerala should come first, not politics. Politics should come next, and therefore this appeasement politics of the last 65-70 years practiced by CPM and Congress must be stopped.
BJP hits out at left in Congress over the blast, calls out appeasement politics. Deadly blasts in Kerala, but Chief Minister is seen attending a pro-Palestine rally in Delhi.
मंदिर के निर्माण में शिवराज सिंह चौहान ने दान दिया 1 लाख, मैंने दिया 1,11,000 और वो चेक मैंने भेजा मोदी जी को कि जाके ट्रस्ट में जमा करा दीजिए। उन्होंने वापस भेज दिया कि आप ही जमा कराइए।
After Kamal Nath, now Digvijay makes U-turn, says he donated more than Shivraj for the Ram Mandir. And police officer critically injured after terrorists fired upon him in Srinagar's Eidgah area. Getting in latest and breaking news update, sources suggest that after interrogation, Martin is being taken to the crime scene to corroborate his confession with the facts. Sources also suggest that he has been planning the explosion for the last 6 months. Remember, Martin is someone who has owned up to the blast that was carried out in the morning at the religious congregation in Ernakulam, and he has said that he was not happy or disagreed with the principles of the religious group called Jehovah's Witness, and so targeted the group convention. And he has been questioned for a few hours now in custody by the police, and then taken over to the crime scene. He's in fact being taken over to the crime scene. Now, on the face of it, it looks like the case stands resolved, but then of course investigation would go on. And sources suggest that, in fact, informed that he has already confessed to having been to have prepared for this blast for the last 6 months. He was taking some online tutorials on explosives, and that's where he configured this IED, which was essentially ammonium nitrate and fuel oil combination. There were no shrapnels, is what sources tell us. I'm told Ashwin is joining us live from Kerala. Ashwin, you've been getting all the updates on this story since morning. After this confession, after the arrest, after the surrender, you think the case stands resolved, or there is likelihood of some more layers coming out? What are your sources telling you in the Kerala police?
This is the convention center where this crime has taken place. Now, the suspect is right now being brought to the Kochi air camp where he's being questioned. It is unlikely that he'll be brought today because it's already little dark. He'll be brought for evidence collection only tomorrow, is what we get to gather. And this person has admitted to the crime. But what the police need to verify is that whether his claims to it has to be true. They have to check the location where he was, his tower location from his mobile, and various other factors which he has claimed has to be corroborated with the evidences that is there. And also fingerprint analysis is also being taken place as we speak right now, Abhishek. So inside a special team has gone to get his fingerprint, whether he was there in the site. So similar such evidence collection is going on. It is likely that he'll be taken to custody today, and tomorrow morning he'll be brought during the daylight. He'll be brought here for further evidence collection, and then only more details will emerge whether he acted by himself or whether it was a team. As per his confession, he has stated he has done it by himself.
Okay, he's admitting to the fact that he has done it by himself. I'm told there's some connectivity issue with Ashwin. We'll come back to you, Ashwin, if the audio is there. Okay, he's back with us. So, Ashwin, what I want to understand is that if he has confessed, if there is a video clip, if there is a CCTV footage about which we are bringing next round of updates, what's really missing according to cops? Are they still looking for something?
It definitely seems so, because there were initial reports that a blue color car was involved in this and there's a fake number plate. But as per the confession from the sources that we get to gather, he has stated to police that he went on a motorcycle after committing the crime. So there is some disparity on that. So all that needs to be ascertained. He has also stated that it took him 6 months to research online to understand how to create a bomb, and that too using liquid, the liquid form of the bombs, and then putting it into a tiffin box. So all these have to be verified. He has in fact given some documents also to the police as per sources, where he has said how he went about doing the same. So all these police will take time to corroborate, because it cannot be taken at face value, whether it needs to be seen whether there has been a conspiracy, whether there are more people within the congregation which has also been part of the crime. So they cannot take his confession alone at a face value, and that is perhaps the reason why police is waiting and watching. They're collecting more evidences to corroborate the same. Abhishek, the fingerprint analysis at the spot is going on, and similarly certain other analysis will also be done, where he procured this bomb, the materials, the raw materials for this bomb, all that will also be corroborated, and only then there will be a conclusion to this entire investigation that has now come forward. Certainly, it's a matter of shock. The congregation itself, the members of the congregation itself, have told me they are in a state of shock after the development that has come right now. Abhishek.
All right, Ashwin, thank you so much for bringing us up to date with all the developments through the day after this unfortunate incident where a man who has confessed to the explosion there in Kerala is now being investigated, but already one life lost, scores injured. We'll keep you updated on this. In fact, staying with this story, the top police administration reached the scene of crime. We have soundbite of ADGP Ajit Kumar. Let's listen in.
See, as far as we can comment, there was an explosion in this function in which around 45 people were injured. One person has died. The condition of another 5 persons are serious. The person who died is suspected to be a lady. She died because of burn injuries. The other people are also having basically burn injuries. We are taking care of everything. Not only we, all the concerned agencies which are involved in all this, including central agencies, are in place, and we are looking into it.
And what about the NIA actually? Central agencies like NIA is here?
All the central agencies who are supposed to be along with this thing are here.
And has anybody surrendered actually?
Yeah, that's what I told you earlier also. A particular one person has surrendered in Kodagara police station in Thrissur rural in the morning, claiming that he has done it. His name is Dominic Martin, and he claims that he belonged to the same group of Sabha. We are verifying it. We are looking into all aspects of this case.
All right, still staying with the story, Republic has accessed CCTV footage of a car leaving the convention center just after the blast. The investigation is going on around this suspicious car, which reportedly had a fake number plate. The number belonged to owner of another white car that was not in use for a few years. The car was found in the vicinity of the blast. The police has not ascertained its connection to the incident. The car is seen leaving at 9:32 a.m. while the blast took place at 9:30 a.m. The blue color car is under surveillance. So that's what Ashwin was talking about. So let's go back to him. Ashwin, is this a red herring, the possibility of this car having any connection with the incident, given the fact that we already have the confession and the arrest? And also, since you have been there on the ground and on the story the entire day, do you get a sense that this is the end of the conspiracy part, or there could be people behind Martin who might have been incited into this act?
It certainly seems so, Abhishek, because we cannot deny it. Because in the video where this man says that he has been part of the congregation for 16 years, and then says that after joining, maybe the first 6 years he was finding it a little difficult, but then he was not able to digest it. For the last 10 years, he was not able to digest what was happening in the congregation. He has raised his concerns several times, is what he claims in this particular video. Now, over the years, is it possible that he acted alone? Was it a lone wolf strike on this own congregation? Is something that needs to be ascertained, especially when there is, for instance, this particular car that has come into picture, and a car with a fake number plate being at the plate.
And I'm sure that the law and order enforcement agencies will act in a manner so that there is no repetition of this kind ever in future. Thank you very much.
Actions coming in, and you were mentioning about the fact that this man has been with Jehovah's Witness for 15 years, 16 years, and suddenly this realization that maybe they are not good people and they are not, they are teaching bad things to the children. You think, you get a sense after being on this story that maybe it's a case of a relationship gone sour, and he had fallen out of favor with the management, with the people managing things, the clergy, etc. And so he just got back at them with this kind of dastardly act.
Abhishek, in this entire video, which is about 5 minutes, he goes on to say during the 2018 floods, this particular group was only helping people within their congregation, and he had raised the sting during that time. And despite that, it was not helping humanity. He says in this video that this particular teaching of Jehovah's Witnesses is inconsistent with the law of the land and also inconsistent with humanity. And that is why he has done this act. Now, he has particularly stated initial 6 years he was okay, but after that he was not at all okay. He has in fact raised an alarm with that to change the way this entire congregation is functioning. The Jehovah Witness is an organization which has a very strong hold in Kerala. It is a very powerful congregation. It's not a small congregation. It has got a very powerful congregation. These are the congregation that also does not allow. They do not take blood from other people. They do not allow for blood transfusion. So similar thing he had mentioned. He particularly goes on to say that the congregation teaches children not to share sweets with other people from other community. He goes on to this particular congregation teaches one to curse one's own name, allegiance to the nation, and these are the things he was completely in disarray with the organization, and that is why he committed this crime. And it took him 6 months to plan this entire crime. Abhishek, definitely a man being noticed by anybody collecting these materials, raw materials for the bomb, to make a bomb, and that too without being falling under the watchful eyes of the intelligence. All this certainly needs to be checked. That is why the police especially is taking some time to ensure to plug all the loopholes in the statement and to confirm all these things, and then only they will finally give a statement on this. So certainly there are some loopholes in the way, especially the car that is coming, and the disparity in which he has stated that he left in a two-wheeler and not in a car. So all these things have to be ascertained, Abhishek. So it could be that it was a lone wolf attack. It could be that there were multiple people, but all the conspiracy and all these can only come with the confirmation from the police. At the moment, we can say it is slightly unbelievable and improbable that a man who can do such an act of terror all alone in a state like Kerala, and that too from within the congregation. But the police will have
All right.
to confirm the same.
Thank you so
Abhishek.
much, Ashwin, for. Right. Thank you so much, Ashwin, for all those details. And we, in fact, earlier spoke to the Ernakulam MP, Hebe Eden, from the blast. Listen in.
So basically, there has been an incident in. So basically, what's the prelim investigation reveal about the nature of attack?
The police has confirmed that the incident which took place today morning 9:30 is a series of blasts, and there were after a major blast there was two other minor blasts inside a hall in a place called Kalamasheri.
Right.
The event center is called as Samra Convention Center, which is usually rented out for marriages, exhibitions, and conventions.
Right.
So this was a 3-day convention of a religious group, Christian religious group called Yehovah Sakshi.
Right.
So those people had a regional conference, and today was the last day.
Right.
And by 9:30, while they were all immersed in their prayers, closing their eyes,
Right.
by the center of the hall,
Right.
they had this blast.
Right. So don't you think?
And
Right. Please carry on.
yeah.
Please carry on. sir.
So that is when one person, a lady, died.
Right.
A young boy, 12-year-old boy, is seriously in the critical care unit, very serious.
Right.
And there are 3-4 other people who are very seriously burned, injured,
Right.
and in the critical care unit.
Yeah.
And there are around more than 20 people admitted in various hospitals in the government and private hospitals nearby.
Right. So the bomb attack basically has happened at a religious gathering in your constituency, so isn't it an administrative failure, an intelligence failure as well?
No, see, I'm not making any kind of political allegations right now.
Right.
The police intelligence has to be much efficient, considered the today's situation.
Right.
They have to be more vigilant, and more precautionary measures have to be taken in a state like Kerala.
Right.
But you have to also understand that this is too early to comment on such a thing.
Okay, so
we are all cooperating with the agencies to make sure that the culprit is caught immediately.
Right. So as per media reports, terror angle has been emerged. Right. What's the latest input you have on this?
No, there are certain vehicles have been identified, certain people have been identified, and the forensic team was here, the bomb squad was here,
right,
and the entire team of police and higher officials, including the DGP, is on the spot.
Right.
So we are expecting this issue to be sorted out immediately.
Right.
And our priority right now is to save as much of lives as possible, to give them the best medical treatment available. And on the other hand, not to politicalize and say, this is a very sensitive issue. So we want people not to, on social media, we don't want people to send, spread false news, fake news. So that the culprit gets the advantage of that.
Sir, is there any Palestinian link link basically related to this attack?
No, only very clear that this is a very early stage. It has been only few hours after the blast, so it's very early, very immature to make such a comment.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So there's one more question, one last question. One person has basically surrendered at the Kodakara police station, right? In connection with the blast.
Yeah.
Could you please share more info on this?
No, I don't have such information. As I said, these are things which the investigation agency has to take over, and they are the people who should be commenting on that. So I won't be a right person to comment on that.
Okay. Thank you, E.B. Hidden. Thank you, Member of Parliament from Ernakulam, for speaking to Republic TV.
All right, on that note, we slip into a short break. On the other side, after Kamal Nath, now Digvijay makes a U-turn, says he donated more than Shivraj for Ram Mandir. Police officer critically injured after terrorists fired upon him in Srinagar, Seedgah area.
As we report from inside Kafar Raza, we are showing you the horror of the Hamas terrorists, how they have unleashed terror here on the civilians. 63 people were killed by the Hamas.
All right, from Kerala to Kashmir, up north, getting in visuals from Srinagar, where terrorists earlier in the day opened fire upon a police officer. This is from the Eidgah area of Srinagar, where a cop who was with locals was targeted. The inspector has been admitted to a hospital and is being treated. Police party rushed to the spot. And in fact, these are the first visuals from the attack site, where now a cordon has been laid and security arrangements in place. We are told that the inspector is now at the hospital and is being treated. In fact, the terrorists who targeted the inspector were also cornered and they have been shot. Let's go to Zeenath, our Srinagar bureau chief, and try to understand what happened. Zeenath, Inspector Masroor has been shifted to the SCIMS hospital after being shot at. How is his condition now? And also reports suggesting that one terrorist has been killed in an operation. Is the terrorist connected with the incident in which Inspector Masroor was targeted, or that's a separate incident?
The incident where you are talking about a terrorist, this is a report coming from the Kupwara, where we are picking from the sources that there is an exchange of fire between the terrorists and the security forces in the Kupwara in North Kashmir, where the report suggests that one terrorist have been neutralized, but the dead body is yet to be retrieved. The incident where the Masroor Abbas Wani, who is the inspector, was posted in DPL Srinagar, this is a separate incident that had taken place in Eidgah Srinagar, the downtown area, and it also sounds that the terrorists have the presence in the Srinagar, and that is how they targeted this Inspector Wani, who was stationed at the DPL Srinagar and was participating in a friendly cricket match with the local boys in Eidgah area of city. And during the cricket match, Wani had been enjoying the game with the local boys, but became the victim of terrorist fire. In fact, the eyewitnesses whom I talked to, they also revealed that the two masked terrorists opened pistol fire on him and catching him as the inspector by surprise when he was busy in the game. And now following that, we are seeing that he was rushed to Sher-e-Kashmir Institute of Medical Sciences for advanced treatment. He has received the 3 bullet injuries, one in the lower part of the body and one it has touched his neck, but he has that wound is not that critical, but he is being operated at the SKIMS, which is the Sher-e-Kashmir Institute of Medical Sciences. Meanwhile, we are seeing the Srinagar police on alert along with the CRPF, and both the forces have swiftly mobilized men and machinery to assess the situation on ground. We are seeing the coordinated search operations being launched in multiple areas to apprehend the terrorists responsible for the heinous crime, although TRF, which is an offshoot of the Lashkar-e-Toiba, has also claimed for the attack by targeting Masroor, who was posted at DPL Srinagar.
All right, Lashkar-e-Toiba taking responsibility of targeting Inspector Masroor. Zeenat says that he has been taken to the SKIMS hospital and being treated there, hopefully, and we pray that he comes out of the gunshot wounds safe and back to the duty, and of course back to his family. On that note, we slip into a short break. Live and Breaking continues on the other side.
Israel is all prepared for the big war, the Hamas terrorists.
The rockets being fired, of course, at Kibbutz Be'eri only.
बहुत सारे ऐसे इलाके हैं जहां अभी भी हमास के आतंकी फायर कर रहे हैं.
Get down again, it's a missile.
कम से कम दर्जन भर रॉकेट्स की आवाज आई है जो हिजबुल्लाह ने दागे हैं.
We have been hearing continuously an explosion.
तकरीबन 50 से 70 BMP जो हैं वो फॉरवर्ड एरियाज पर हैं.
The people here were staying, but there was a rocket that was fired.
एशकुलॉन की तरफ से टैंक्स जा रहे हैं.
हमारी सबसे बड़ी टीम ग्राउंड जीरो पर है.
As we report from inside Kafar Raza, we are showing you the horror of the Hamas terrorists, how they have unleashed terror here on the civilians. 63 people were killed by the Hamas terrorists, while more than 7.
Year after year, extraordinary women have broken barriers, shattered glass ceilings, and fearlessly marched towards progress. Republic Media Network salutes this indomitable spirit of women who continue to inspire generations to come. Welcome to Techno Phantom V Flip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV. Fasten your seatbelts. With us is a trailblazer who has been burning rubber and has flipped the narrative when it comes to the world of motorsports. Joining us on the show is none other than Meera Erda, who is India's first female racer to win internationally in Formula 4. Let's take a look at her incredible journey.
At the age of 9, Meera set out on a journey defying stereotypes and racing towards victory. From karting to the racetrack, Meera's journey is a beacon of inspiration for all aspiring racers. In a male-dominated arena, Meera raced against skepticism and adversity, but she never looked back. From a young enthusiast to India's youngest female professional racing driver, Meera didn't just break through barriers, she shattered them. Her journey is a reminder that dreams have no limits, just like the speed on the racetrack.
Meera, welcome to Techno Phantom V Flip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV. Now, before we have a detailed conversation, and it's very interesting that we are sitting here right at this racing track to talk about your journey. A quick rapid fire round. Are you all set?
I'm very bad at rapid fires, but yeah.
So let's test you on that one. Okay. One race that you can never forget.
My first race win back in 2012 when I started last, and in 3 laps I overtook everybody. So that was one challenge.
One place you want to travel to?
Difficult, very difficult. Switzerland.
What's your favorite pre-race ritual?
I like to just sit into my car and just strap in, put my helmet on and just like focus, have a conversation with my car. That's one thing. Feel one.
What's your favorite racetrack in the world?
The Bodh International Circuit is one of my favorite tracks to race on.
If not a racer, you would have been
an athlete for sure. I loved, like ever since I was a child, I loved enjoying and playing sports. So maybe some other sport, but for sure an athlete.
Your dream team to race with?
Red Bull Racing.
Your favorite quote?
Never give up, just keep your head down and focus.
One word to describe the feeling of being in a race car?
Home.
What's your go-to post-race meal?
Quite a lot. It depends from how the race has gone, but I love desserts. So you give me any kind of dessert, tiramisu, cake, I love dessert.
You were in your teens and you started competing professionally. You were on international platforms well enough to realize that this is a primarily male-dominated arena.
Yes.
What did you go through during this realization?
To be honest, when obviously I didn't see a lot of females there, I was like, there should be more females racing, because it's not just like, it is a male-dominated sport, but then if I can race, there can be other females racing as well. And at times I would be just sitting alone because the boys wouldn't talk to me. But, I just kept going. I was like, see, doesn't matter. Right now, there might not be a lot of females, but if I push through and if I make a mark and if I set the way for everybody else, at least in future, there'll be, much more easier times for females to race. And now when I see there are so many females racing in different categories, yes, you know, there are still difficult times that they have to perform a lot more better and work a lot more harder. But that's the sad reality of not just our country, but in general around the whole world, around the whole community of motorsport, that females are not a majority in that. So we have to work hard, but then hopefully there will be a time in future that, you know, it will be equal. There'll be equal amount of females, but mentally there was a time when I was like, I have to work my best, like 200% extra to make sure that I am up there. At least I get my opportunities and make 100% use of those.
So, you know, as I understand it, it is obviously a skill that you hone. But what do you think are the qualities that a racer must have?
Most importantly is the focus. As soon as you get into your car, you need to know what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to drive, and have that alertness. Because we are racing at such high speeds and we're very close. It's very close racing. So one small mistake of yourself or somebody else might cause a serious accident, or, you know, might make you lose positions. So we have to be very alert in what we are doing and how we are, you know, positioning our cars. So that's one thing which is really important for a race car driver. Then physical strength is very important, and just overall how you adapt quickly to situations. Even if the car is not good, there might be situations where you will have to push through, you will have to adapt and put yourself into a uncomfortable position, so that, you know, might not work right now, but in future you'll just be able to get a better result out of it.
Have there also been moments where you felt a sense of fear while you're racing at those speeds? Your parents may feel it. What does the family go through?
Well, I would say I was one of the lucky ones, where my parents were the ones who were more like, no, you know what, you're going slow, you need to go more faster. And that would after a point annoy me, because I was like, come on dad, come on mom, I'm doing my best. Now how much more faster do I go? But now I realize that you know, constant nagging and that constant pushing me extra really helped me to break my barriers, obviously. But then there are points, you know, where I have myself, you know, not been scared about the speed, but been scared or just been anxious enough, like what's going to happen, like how is this race going to turn up, and all of those fears. But then, you know, if I let those come and take over my driving skills, I won't be able to perform my best, and I won't be able to get the results that I'm hoping for, because the whole team is working hard. It's not just me who's getting the results. So I have to just put all of those fears at the back of my head and just get onto the track and give my 100% every time.
I must say you have that razor sharp focus. Then again, you've been on so many tracks. Tell us about some of the high points that you've had.
I remember I was just 12 years old, and it was my first ever, you know, pole position that I had achieved in the pre-finals. And due to some technical reasons, I was disqualified and I was put to the back of the grid. Now there were around, let's say, 12 or 13 drivers. I'm not really sure about the number, but then there were quite a few. And I had to start at the back, and I was really upset because that was my first pole. So the team told me that we are going to give you the best car possible. Now it's more like up to you. What do you want to do? Do you just want to enjoy the race, and do you just want to be a mediocre racer, or this is your point where you prove it not just to everybody else but to yourself that you can do it and you're meant for it. And that day I gave everything I had, and I still remember that day so clearly. In just 3 laps, I was up there fighting and, you know, overtaking all the drivers, and that laser focus was there. And, you know, I could see all my competitors being shocked that, okay, she started last and right away in just 3 laps, she's right here behind us and overtaking us. And when I won that race, crossing the checkered flag, I could just see it was my team and my parents who were really happy, jumping around. Whereas everybody else was shocked that a girl actually managed to do that. And that was one feeling that I always, you know, after that point, I was like, I want to feel this every time. I want to feel how I feel when I'm standing on top of the podium, holding the first position trophy. And I also felt like, okay, this shouldn't be a shock every time that a girl, you know, manages to do something like this or pull off something like this. It should become normal. So after that, is when I decided, okay, this passion needs to turn into profession, so that it becomes very normal after a point that even girls can race and they can win as well.
Meera, you're all of 22, and I'm sure that you also somewhere understand that given the exposure you've had, you're mentally ahead probably of a lot of peers.
Yes.
What are the life lessons that you've taken from racing that you've imbibed personally?
With racing, I matured quite a lot earlier than I was supposed to. I have to give my 100% in everything I'm doing. It just can't be one thing and the others have to be mediocre. So that really, helped me realize that, okay, life can change at any point of time. So you have to be at the top of your game in every part of it. And that's why even when I talked about studies, it was more like, okay, I have to at least have this benchmark for myself that, okay, this is a certain percentage that you have to achieve every time. So you figure it out however you want to, but you have to get until there. There might be setbacks, there might be, mishaps that might happen. So that happened in racing. That was one biggest lesson that I learned, that there was a time when my car was having a lot of issues and I was at my peak as a driver, but the car was not supporting enough to make me reach to the podium or even get a win or be able to fight. So that's when I learned that, okay, people around me told that it's okay, Meera, right now work on yourself. Don't focus on the car. There might be a time in future when your car is at 100%, it's perfect, and you have also improved a lot. So when you combine both of those things, you'll be able to get better results. So that's something that I always prefer to do it in my life as well. That, okay, the situations might not be good, you might not get your goals right now, but at least as a human being, if you constantly work enough, and if you're like working on yourself and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, you will learn and you will grow as a person. You represent your country at an international level, not just do that, but perform at a much more higher level, even when you're racing internationally. That takes up the name much more higher. So I feel, every individual has to work hard enough right now, because this is the time that will change the future for our country.
You have lots to achieve. I mean, you're still very young, but fact still remains that when it comes to Formula racing in India, you have flipped the narrative. What was the turning point for you?
As I said, the point when I was on the podium is when it changed my perspective about racing in general. I was like, until then I was just doing it for passion and just enjoying it. But then when I decided that it has to turn into a profession, it becomes a very narrow lane after that. You just have to have one focus. Everything else has to work around to that one goal. So then I had to start giving up a lot of different things, and I just had to focus everything on one point. And as a person, mentally, I had to become much more stronger to deal with situations and just understand that now things are much more serious and now I have to give in a lot more efforts. So it was more about focus right now, get the results, enjoy those results later on, and everything else will be there waiting for you.
Meera, today's youngsters have so much to learn from you, and in fact also what your future plans are going to be all about. So we have to slip into a very short commercial break right now, but we'll quickly come back. And yes, all of you are watching Techno Phantom. VFlip 5G presents Women Pioneers of India in association with Republic TV. Meera Erda continues to stay with us on the other side. Do stay tuned.